debates and decisions that are shaping our continent now in Europeans.
Today, this basement is a museum. But 16 years ago, it was under siege. The wounded poured into the corridors of Vukovar's hospital, while outside, Croat soldiers fought the Yugoslav army and Serb militia. These tiles bear the names of those killed in what has been called the Vukovar massacre. When Croatia surrendered Vukovar on the 18th of November 1991, the hospital's patients were evacuated. Most of them were never seen again. 200 were taken to a farm nearby and killed. Only 7 survived. In 1991, the director of the hospital, Dr. Vesna Bosanac, stayed until the end of the siege. Her dedication earned her iconic status. She was taken captive after the surrender, but then freed in a Croatian prisoner exchange with the Serbs. She returned as head of the hospital in 1997, when Vukovar was reintegrated into Croatia.
This museum is important for the whole Croatian people. It evokes the harshest memories of what the city of Vukovar and the hospital went through during the homeland war for independence in the summer and autumn of 1991. It's a place of remembrance.
Vukovar is emblematic of the nationalist wave which swept up the former Yugoslavia into a series of brutal conflicts which killed over 200,000 people. 16 years on, many Croats had hoped that those responsible for Croatia's worst post-World War II atrocity would be brought to justice. Life in prison for the men known as the Vukovar Three, but it didn't happen. In late September, the Hague Tribunal handed down the sentence for 3 senior Yugoslav officers. 2 were given 20 and 5 years respectively. The third was acquitted. Those who fought through the siege in Vukovar, like Branko Borkovic, are not only frustrated with the court. He insists both international Red Cross and European delegations were present when the hospital was evacuated. He believes help and justice came too late, if at all.
Vukovar is special for Croatia. Vukovar is the cornerstone of modern, independent Croatia. The Vukovar Three represent only a small part of the international community's obligation. In other words, this means the resolution of questions on the crimes committed in the former Yugoslavia. It is inadmissible that no one is held responsible, especially since the international community was present the entire time. Plus, guarantees were given that the conflict would be settled in a peaceful way.
Croatia's cooperation with the War Crimes Tribunal was a key condition for beginning negotiations with the EU. Until that was proven, talks were delayed. They were formally launched 2 years ago, and Zagreb hopes Croatia will join by 2010. The capital and Vukovar show a marked contrast. The past weighs heavily at the border with Serbia, while Zagreb is thriving towards the future. Like most of Croatia, it has undergone both a political and economic facelift. Long gone are the ultra-nationalist days of the late president, Franjo Tudjman. Parliamentary elections are due this November 25th, and the 2 main political parties are in a tight race. Neither the governing centre-right HDZ nor the SDP socialist opposition is expected to win an outright majority. And while in past elections issues relating to the war featured high on the campaign list, today they are fading. For this journalist, most of Croatia's 4.5 million citizens are ready to move on despite the Hague verdict.
People were really disappointed with the news about the sentence. They took it like the slam in the face, like a knock in the face. But then, on the other hand, the truth is that with a sequence of time, the war issues, although still very emotional, they have been put aside for a bit. People are much more interested in their life standard, education for their children, tax rates, health insurance, and human rights. So this is somehow a thing of the past.
But in Vukovar, the past is still very present. This is the cemetery where victims of the 3-month siege are buried. They include many of the patients evacuated from the hospital and then killed. These white crosses represent Vukovar's missing war dead. There are almost 1,200 of them. They also represent a chapter of Croatia's past still left open. Ivanka Ledic last saw her son on the 18th of November 1991. He was taken away by a Serb soldier who promised she would see him in the morning. But she doesn't blame the Serbs. Rather, she blames the government, which has done too little.
I expect nothing. I don't even think I'll go to vote. I've so utterly lost confidence in everything. I lived in Zagreb. I went as far as seeing Tudjman and the minister Granic, whoever was in government. We knocked on all the doors. They told me this wasn't the time, told me to wait, be patient. 16 years have gone past. What have I left to wait for? Nothing better.
Before the war broke out in Croatia, Vukovar had 45,000 residents. Today, there's half that number. And while Vukovar before 1991 was considered the Sarajevo of Croatia, today's divisions paint a different story. Many residents claim the reconciliation and the integration politicians boast of is far from the truth. This ethnic Serb mother found the remains of her son 3 years ago. Bullet wounds showed he'd been executed. Today she worries about the divisions which still exist along ethnic lines.
Vukovar's situation speaks for itself. It shows just how far reconciliation has got. We've separated the schools, the nurseries, the cafes and the nightclubs on the ethnic principle. How can one talk about a reconciliation process? I think that says most about where we've actually got to.
Dr. Bosanac was a witness at The Hague. She agrees more healing still needs to be done, but she also blames the tribunal for keeping some of these dark memories alive.
We don't want to live in the wounds of 1991. We must think about today and tomorrow. What we've lived through we'll never forget. We'll never forgive those who committed these crimes. There are also many Serbs who suffered at that time, and they mustn't feel the consequences of collective guilt. We know exactly who did these crimes and who is to be held responsible. Unfortunately, the Hague Tribunal was incapable of recognizing that, and it's lost our trust.
Last month, this memorial was placed on the hospital grounds. Like the museum, it hopes to serve as a reminder of Croatia's struggle to become a modern independent state and the sacrifices made to get there.